What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jimmy Talks. If you watch my videos regularly, let me start off with this. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. It really helps me out a lot in the algorithm. If you want to see more content like this, follow me on X. Shoot me an @ I'll chop it up with you. And last, but certainly not least, my analytics show that a whopping 54% of you watch my videos regularly, but aren't subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button. It helps me out in the algorithm more than you know, and it ensures you don't miss any of this crucial information. Now, let's get into it. The economic situation in this country is not just a crisis anymore. It's starting to become a societal collapse. I'm going to say it. I'm really going to go there. And this data that we're seeing is starting to tell us what we've all been feeling for quite some time now, despite what these economists say about, oh, we're not in inflation. Oh, the economy's fine. Sure. A recent report I read on X, it was really staggering. It was something we haven't seen since 2021. And that is, the United States now has more unemployed people than there are job openings. Let that sink in. More people, less jobs. So the official narrative of a booming economy with a labor shortage is now exposed as a complete and utter lie. The math is simple and it's brutal. For every 20 people desperately looking for work, there are only 18 or 19 jobs available. So this isn't a shortage of labor anymore, it's a surplus. We have too many people. Wonder why we have too many people. I think my other videos on my channel really point this out. But anyways, this desperation of not having jobs or something that's well paying, it's getting people to make choices that are going to destroy their future. People can't pay their bills. They're being backed into a corner where their only option is to destroy their own retirement accounts. Think about that. A retirement account, like a 401k or a Roth IRA, these aren't like piggy banks you just pull out of a rainy day fund. These are investments that are designed for long-term growth, and they're built on the principle of compounding interest. I love compounding interest, by the way. But anyways, it's built with time in the market. You put your money in there and it grows with compounding interest. It just grows and grows on top of that. Everybody knows that. Well, you should. If you don't know that, then I explain it to you. And if you didn't know, then okay, you should, but at least you know now. Okay. But going through these and pulling money out of them early is like asking to not have a retirement. You not only annihilate your future growth potential, but you also take a massive tax penalty from the government for the privilege of accessing your own money, which in and of itself is stupid. And anyways, I don't blame these people either they have to pull money out from somewhere. Maybe they're in a hard time or something. I don't know. Everybody's situation's different in their personal life, but I digress. Why is this becoming so common and widespread? Maybe it's not just somebody who's down bad on their luck if a lot of fucking people are doing this now, right? This is what people are being reduced to. They're burning down their own future house to stay warm for one night. So why is this happening? Why is the money in our pockets becoming worthless with every single trip to Walmart that we make? Why are people out of work? And if they do have a job, why is it so hard to find one that pays anything worth a shit? The answers are really staring at us in our face, but the political and media class and the elites work overtime to make sure you don't know it. It's mass immigration. Meanwhile, the people in charge, and by the way, that's not the only reason, that's probably the biggest one. But anyways, the people in charge are so-called leaders. They're so utterly insulated from the consequences of their actions. They don't live our lives. They don't see what we go through. They continue to insider trade on the stock market with impunity. We literally have freaking X pages on Twitter. We have Twitter pages that are called Nancy Pelosi Stock Tracker. Why is this random woman just like suddenly the best stock picker ever? Well, she's not. You got this pattern of constant W's and maybe the occasional L to cover your own tracks. But anyways, they continue to do all of this. They take government information and they enrich themselves with it. While you and I, the common man, even people who have six figures, still a common man. You got $1 million or something, maybe $2 million, and your life's definitely going to be easier than the common man. But to them, we're still little fish, even if you have $1 million. They still accept enormous sums of foreign money from lobbying groups and NGOs, with AIPAC being the one example that everybody knows of. And it ensures that their alliances and their allegiances are never really truly to the American people that they swore to serve. And despite all of the shouting and all of the elections and all the fucking rhetoric that they say, nothing truly changes. The bombs continue to drop, the machine grinds on, the money printer keeps going burr. Money we don't have keeps being printed and shipped off to Ukraine and Israel. Billions being sent to Israel. It's this perpetual motion machine of wealth extraction from the American heartland to foreign countries in the pockets of the connected elite. What the fuck is that? What are we doing? The human cost of this is degrading. It's degrading people that they have to do this. I'm even seeing stories now, as if it couldn't get any worse, about women trading sex so they don't have to pay for rent. We have an entire generation of young women who have been sold a lie of empowerment and feminism that has culminated into them selling naked pictures of themselves on the internet, like on OnlyFans, just to make ends meet. They're saying, hey, here's a picture of my naked body and all the parts I'm not going to say out of respect to myself. I don't want to say it. For $10 a month. Not even. Some of them is $5. We got a sale going on. Come see all this for $5. It's online prostitution. That, or they're selling foot pictures or something else that's equally provocative. Maybe foot pictures is less provocative, but it's still in the same realm. You can make actually, it's still online prostitution. And this isn't liberation. It's the digital equivalent of street walking. It's online prostitution. A sign that society has lost its way and its dignity. And for everyone else, they're working 1, sometimes 2 full-time jobs, and they're still struggling to get by, or they're going deeply into debt for a college education that doesn't even result in a job on the other side. This is literally Weimar conditions. Call it Weimerica. We are watching the devaluation of our currency and the disintegration of our social fabric in real time. And who's benefiting from this collapse? A bunch of foreigners now have jobs that Americans are supposed to have. We were promised mass deportations under the Trump administration, and it's a policy that everybody who voted for supports, but it never happened. So the whole shtick, the entire excuse of my labor shortage is we need more people, it's my labor shortage, that was used to justify importing what Trump himself identified as 55 million visas. This is now proven false. There is no labor shortage. The jobs didn't just vanish out of nowhere. They were given to foreigners because corporations know they can pay them less money and work them harder because they're dependent on their employer for their visa status. An American worker, rightly, demands a living wage, standard pay, health insurance, and all that stuff. The basic foundations of the social constructs that built this nation, really, when you think about it. This high-trust society that we don't have anymore. Meanwhile, an Indian migrant coming from a third world country will happily accept poverty wages here because those dollars are worth a fortune when they send them back home. It's called remittance. And that's exactly what they do. This isn't to hate on Indians or anything, but we're getting pilfered from outsiders. We can't have this going on. And the studies show this consistently. That foreign workers send a massive portion of their earnings outside to the American economy. The money isn't circulated back into our own towns or our own shops or our own communities. It's shipped back overseas. And it creates this big wealth transfer out of the country. On top of that, the result is one more American citizen in their own homeland without a job or any prospect of one that can support a family. This isn't accidental, by the way. It's deliberate. It's a deliberate strategy. Companies purposely advertise jobs with insultingly low pay and extremely high qualifications. I know you've all seen this. Maybe it's a meme or you've seen it yourself and looking for a job. They want like an entry-level job with a bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience. It's obviously not entry-level. And like, oh, we can't find an American to do this job. We need an H-1B now. It's a ploy. That's the plan all along. They'll turn around afterwards, tell the federal government with a straight face, we need an H-1B visa now because we just can't find an American to fill this position. Oh, they're so lazy. Just like Elon said, and Vivek Ramaswamy, these guys aren't even American. They're just lazy. Again, that's the plan all along. It's a calculated game. Breaks the bargaining power of the American worker, suppresses wages. Now, some people look at this and they'll be like, well, it's capitalism, that's the problem. But I honestly, maybe I shouldn't have said that in my tone. I'll come from a good and honest place. I genuinely think that's wrong. Typically, when I was making that statement, I'm like, it's capitalism, I'm making fun of commies because commies are stupid. I'll just tell you that. You're watching this and you're like, I'm a communist. Well, yeah, we definitely are not on the same page. Capitalism in and of itself isn't the problem. The free exchange of goods and services is a natural and productive human endeavor. What went wrong was a series of deliberate perversions, like I just said earlier, of a healthy system. First, the devaluation of the dollar by taking it off the gold standard in 1971, which allowed for endless money printing that we have today. Secondly, it was the corruption of Keynesian economics, which was supposed to be about limited government intervention to smooth out business cycles and recessions, but it was twisted into this military-industrial complex thing, an endless forever war, so the defense industry could profit heavily, which all the politicians also have their stocks in. Third, we have the rise of corporatism, which is distinct from capitalism. It kind of ties into the Keynesian economics I just talked about. What this is the collusion between private corporations and the government, and it's a system where they scratch each other's backs, but ultimately what they do screws over the regular guy. The government creates regulations that big businesses can easily absorb, but ones that crush small competitions, like the 2008 financial crash, the COVID lockdowns, where Amazon got incredibly rich, but all the small businesses shut down. And the 2008 crash was when everybody lost their houses. Everybody lost their homes, but the big banks got their bailout, and we had to pay for it. This is just a closed loop. You may know this donor and ruler class more affectionately as the swamp or the uniparty. It's all just a big, massive failure. And who do you think is feeling this the most? Obviously, my whole channel is dedicated to it. It's Gen Z. You could even say millennials. Definitely them too. I'll give them that. We're the ones who inherited all of this bullshit. We're getting the shit end of the stick. We're the ones paying into a social security system, and we're not going to really see much out of it. We're going to pay more than we get back. We're the ones buried under student debt for degrees that are now worthless because we were told you have to go to college or else you're a failure. No, some people are better at trades and blue-collar stuff. We are the ones who can't afford a home. The cornerstone of the American dream, by the way, your white picket fence house, because the assets have all been scooped up by the boomers and massive investment firms. This channel, my mission, is to try my hardest to tell everyone the truth about what's going on and to offer solutions as well. I don't just want to sit here and blackpill you. That's not the point of what I want to do here. I don't like doing that to myself. The point of this is to open people's eyes to the reality of the governing style in the U.S., which is a form of managed decline, and we're not done yet. Besides informing people of the truth, showing people how Gen Z hates both Democrats and Republicans at this point, and rightfully so, I want this channel to be a truth bearer so that when our generation finally gets into power, they finally get into politics, we know what we need to do, we have a clear mission, we have an objective path forward, we can build an op board, an operational order to accomplish our task for the benefit of the American people and the American people alone. The truth is harsh and sometimes it's not easy to deal with, but I try to articulate it in a clear manner. And when I broadcast my thoughts to you all, I'm speaking to the future. Right now, I have around 29,000 subscribers. Out of you, 29,000, some of you will eventually get into politics. Maybe like 10 to 100 of you. It's not a lot, but it's something. It's a start. Maybe another 10 to 100 will become lawyers, doctors, engineers, CEOs, skilled tradesmen. It doesn't matter the job title. It kind of does, but not too much. What I'm trying to say is that some of you will get into valuable and influential positions of power and authority. That is when the real change happens, when Gen Z gets into the political sphere. and other positions of influences, and it refuses to play by these old corrupt rules. So consider this a direct order. If you're a viewer of mine and a patriot, I'm giving you the direct order to educate yourself on whatever interests you and become a dang subject matter expert on it. Okay? That's not a suggestion, it's an order from me. Perform your daily duties and your studies to the utmost of your ability. Your country is depending on it. If you want to do your part for yourself and your nation to succeed, this is what I'm telling you to do. That's quite literally the whole point of this channel, to help out the common man and the fellow patriot to arm themselves with knowledge to take our country back. No, it's not, we're advocating for violence. I'm not saying that, okay? The old guard is slowly fading. The boomers are getting older. They're slowly dying out. They're the recipients. And by the way, I don't wish them all to die. That's messed up. But they're leaving us. They're recipients of the biggest wealth transfer in human history in terms of assets. Houses, stocks, gold and silver, retirement accounts. They hold all the monetary power. We even pay for their social security, which is kind of a Ponzi scheme when you think about it. We're not going to really see the benefits of it. And when they're gone, and again, I don't pray for anyone's downfall, but when this natural generational shift occurs, the dynamic change will be big. They lived through the most prosperous times in the nation's history, a period of unparalleled wealth building that was made possible by the solid foundations laid by their parents. But that era is over. We can't dwell on the past. We start with today. We focus on the future, and we learn from the past. And the future is becoming clear. Gen Z is fed up. He's becoming increasingly nationalistic. They place their own country and its people first over foreigners, as they should. Even the normies are starting to do this. They're also getting increasingly right-wing in the truest sense of the word. Not neocon, but nationalist. The future is going to bring some incredible and interesting changes. So what do we do in the meantime? I know people on my gold and Bitcoin videos either loved the idea or absolutely hated it. And they were all in on one or the other. But I'm going to tell you what I'm doing as a personal solution because I like to leave these videos with a tangible fix in them. Like I said, I don't like the black pill. I'm a positive pessimist. I see the problems with clarity, and I'm eager to fix them and help others do that as well. So what I'm doing is I'm all in on gold and Bitcoin as the most solid way to preserve my wealth and my purchasing power. The key word here is preserving. I still have my 401k and my Roth and my HSA, my health savings account, but I am diverting more and more into hard assets. As the dollar is deliberately devalued with the constant money printing, gold and Bitcoin retain their value. They are real stores of wealth. Their stock-to-flow ratio is low, and they're finite resources. Gold has been the ultimate money for centuries. Bitcoin is now undeniable as well, with the Federal Reserve Chairman himself calling it digital gold. Even Peter Schiff, a famous gold bug and just a total Bitcoin skeptic, you couldn't even say skeptic, you could even say he just outright hates it. He admits that it has value. They are complementary, not in competition. One is physical, tried, and true. The other one's just digital. It's borderless and it's censorship resistant. They work together. Now, I'm not rich, but I learn from the rich. And the one universal method they use to get and stay rich is thinking in the long term. That's the rich mentality. The poor mentality, forced upon so many people, is to solve today's problem by creating tomorrow's crisis, like pulling out your retirement to pay your bills. But despite all this, I'm not doom-pilled or black-pilled. I think we will figure out a way. The future looks incredibly bleak right now, but people are awakening en masse. They are angry, and rightfully so. They have power in numbers. They are the ones who ultimately keep this fake economy propped up by their labor and their spending. When that breaks, the whole charade collapses. And make no mistake, the suffering is real. People can barely afford shelter. They can barely afford food. The social safety nets of the past, like company pensions, are long gone, and they're replaced with 401ks, which are not a replacement for pensions. The inflation will just keep going up. It will get worse. And history shows us that when things get worse, that is precisely when things start to change. Look at the Weimar Republic. Look at Italy post-World War I, which gave rise to nationalism. You can even look at the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 90s, where everyone was poor and women were famously selling themselves as mail-order brides to foreigners because their country collapsed. Then they kind of rose up more when Putin restored a semblance of power and dignity to Russia. Like him or dislike him, that is kind of what happened. We have our own version of that happening right now. OnlyFans and women selling photos of themselves to pay rent. This isn't an exaggeration. It's a parallel. It's a one-to-one. So this won't last forever. I have hope for the future, God willing, of course. Nothing is possible without him. I'll leave you with the famous quote that rings truer now than ever. Hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Right now, we live in the hard times where the strong men are being forged by the fire. We are being tested. So let's see how we'll rise up. All right, guys. Just wanted to give my thoughts on these news articles I was seeing. That's all from me today. America first and always. God bless. Jimmy Talks out.